Hello and welcome to the git-python live development stream. This is Byron talking and oh no! Oh, thank God. I just reloaded this page and I had added some notes here, but they're back. They're still there, that is. Good. So we are currently doing some submodule improvements. Long-standing issues shall be fixed now, especially the transition to the new Git file style of handling submodules. In the past session, I'd say, this is the third session for today, by the way. In the past session, we got as far as trying to see what happens if I remove a submodule after I've renamed or after I've moved it. So this moves the submodule physically around, whereas the call here should just remove everything and all the traces of it. Maybe something else I should do. And this code tries to verify that this truly happens, especially that we remove the Python module that might be, well, how to say that, the Python module, the Git repository that has been put under .git/modules of the Python, the Git parent repository. I am confused. Apparently, it's not Python; it's Git. Good. And what we've seen is this. So it tries to diff something and fails doing so because it's still using the old path, submodules intermediate. This module is now at submodules one step up, basically. So intermediate isn't there anymore. Let's see why that is and where that comes in. At 668 remove wrapper, then we go into remove, and then 719 seems to trigger it. So here we check if there are untracked files, fair enough. And this call is the one that fails amazingly, because for some reason this one is still using an old path there. And it's my own module, so what is this? This shouldn't be. This means the state is kind of dirty. It's an external state, and that of course shouldn't be the case. Up, down, down. Here we go. And it seems that mod working tree deer is at the wrong spot, even though it's at the right spot. So what's happening here? Does that folder exist? Should be. Does that folder exist? Should be. So far so good. I mean, these paths here, they're all fine. And that was kind of expected, because if that doesn't work, it would be odd. So we don't use absolute path here. Maybe we should. No, wait, actually, sorry. Normalized path, right? So we have these this dot notation in here. In a episode far in the past, I've actually discussed that and thought, okay, let's not normalize these paths. Let's not do this, because we just work with the path we get and expect that we will always kind of get the path that we initially got here. Otherwise, the client or the user who calls us, who uses this library, has to make sure he passes path that makes sense. Even though now it's us who pass these paths, and I hope this works for us too. Us in the sense of Git submodule, git-python submodule, our own implementation kind of triggers these paths to be created, and I think it's okay, but yeah, let's see. Let's see what we figure out. So untracked files, mod is dirty. Why? So it's a repo base, I suppose. Why does it all of a sudden use a wrong path there? Maybe it cached a path and the working tree or the working directory is wrong. I think that could be it. Mod work. working, or I don't know what, which member variables it has. Working tree dir, working dir. So what is, if that is wrong, because that is very important to the command, but also that is correct. I don't see it. Okay. So this is kind of a one-time issue for some reason, that it now has the right values, whereas before it didn't. So if I call this mod is dirty, untracked files, yes. Okay, it still fails with that. Okay. So why? Let's see what we have here in execute, self command. What's this problem? Do we still have the current working directory set? Okay, that's set to our, I mean, that has been unset, I guess. Or, you know, we can't figure this out anymore. It seems to be just my current working directory. Self underscore working dir it's using. All right. So mod has all the right values here, but I suppose that mod git working dir, oh sorry, not here it exists, but here. Mod git working dir, that also has the right one. Man, I mean, good, you know, awesome, should be. I mean, it was a newly created repository instance, so it should be fine. I don't cache this stuff. So again, what's this problem? Could not switch to, well, that's the wrong path. And does it mean that the current working directory is wrong as we put it here? So can I go down there and still figure that out? CWD seems to be correct as well. What's going on here? I don't that's something I do not understand right now. Locals. Do I have intermediate somewhere here in my locals? Intermediate, there it is. Which is, oh, that's just the std error value, and it's just there. Okay, then I shall reproduce this issue by executing the actual command in the actual directory. So I will do what this thing obviously did. I will go there and execute the command. Oh, well. So it's supposed to be here. It does exist. Also, that's correct. I mean, that's something we've verified already. So, in theory, this should fail now. Okay, this is true. It does fail. Awesome. So it's something that, I mean, somewhere, I mean, it still knows the old location. Why is that? Does it read? I mean, there is no git modules file here, fair enough. Okay, let's try to do what it does. It goes here, gets the repository, and here somewhere And here somewhere it will get this old path. And where would it get that? In the config? Oh, look at that. No way, man. Ah, come on. So it does it. And it's an absolute path, which might also not be correct. Huh. Okay. I will definitely fix this. So first of all, I'd like to see what git submodule itself does. So I create a new submodule now. Git submodule add, that's the URL as mmap, just locally here. Name doesn't matter. Oops, sorry, I'm so in the wrong directory. Like so. Good, and now I just verify that this git file here is relative. Yes, and now let's see what git modules as mmap says. Config worktree. So the worktree has to be relative as well. And must be adjusted obviously when we do any move. Okay. So let's do this. That should be fairly straightforward. And we have to, well, actually just modify our move method here. And our function, oh sorry, that's the wrong one. Our function write git file, it has everything it needs to do that already. And it's called after the clone, and the clone function obviously puts in an absolute path where we want a relative one. And as it kind of takes care of this already for us, I think it should also take care of the configuration rewrite. Write git file and configuration, let's rename that. File and module config, just to be precise about what it does. So first we write this one here. And now we know we kind of want to have this done as an atomic operation. So if one of the things fails, nothing should have happened. And right now it's not implemented like that. I mean, right now we only write a file, and that's as atomic as it gets. If we fail to write that file, it's okay. I mean, I guess this file, writing this file is kind of prone to failure because it's in the working tree, and you know, the user is doing things there and maybe running scripts, maybe changing permissions on such a file. So I think it's good to start with that. But what I don't really want is, you know, I just make a note here saying that this method is not atomic, because I don't really want to go through the stress and kind of keep the old git file around and then roll everything back. It's okay, you know, you can do that and it wouldn't be so much more code, but for us it would make it more, would make the code more complex, and you know, let's just say it's unlikely that this happens, but we will say that we leave the repository possibly in, or the pair of directories possibly in an inconsistent state. Node as we rewrite both the git file as well as the module configuration, we will possibly we could possibly leave the git file in an, well, the git file is not really inconsistent. We might fail on the configuration, and will not roll back changes done to the Git file. There should be a non-issue. Come on, a non-issue. And may easily be fixed. If it becomes one, I think it might want indentation here to be happy about this, and yeah, we will just build the docs to see if that works or not later. Good. So now let's rewrite the configuration. Yeah, I will just get a config writer here. I guess I have to import it. Git config. It's a git config writer. Let's see. Parser. Ha! Config parser, which goes like that. Init file or files. So that's our module apps path. Joined with config. I mean, that's, you know, there's a function that generates these names, but I think it's on the repo base get config path, and it's an instance method here, and I don't have an instance to that repository right now, so I shall just implement this myself, which is as easy as that. That's fair enough, because that definitely doesn't change. Well, let's call it writer. If I could spell that, if I could type, I would call it writer. There we go, and now read only false. Merge includes false, just to be sure. That's true by default, but we want to write this thing, and we don't want to be having trouble with includes, because if we merge in includes into this writer instance, we can't write it back, because that would kind of write the includes back that they pulled in, and that's something we do not want. So that's the call. Writer release will flush the changes that we make. For sure, flush the changes, so I will never forget to do a release here. Even though the destructor will call release as well, but on Python 3 it cannot be trusted, so I kind of put in these release calls myself now. Refreshing. And now I think it's our own option. It's set value, and it's core work tree. I didn't know that exists. Core work tree. And this is the opposite operation. OS path, rel path. So we start at working tree dir, and we end at the module apps path, like so. I think that could possibly do it. And yeah, let's just try that again. Let's see. Oh yeah, it even told me that I was wrong, and that's a config parser. Okay. Good. We get closer. Exists. So now it's this one here. Assertion error. 670. Well, sure, we just deleted it. And that should also not exist. And that should not be a module, a path anymore, or a directory anymore. Really? That did work? I don't trust that. Come on. I never did I change remove already to actually handle the original repository correctly? I don't think so. But apparently I did. But that's not to be trusted. I wanna know this myself. I wanna check this myself and adjust the test possibly. So SM module path. By the way, yeah, that's correct. So that's not supposed to exist anymore, and apparently it does not exist. That's okay, but how did it get lost? Yeah, modules is... Oh no, wait. Oh. It doesn't exist because the directory that it starts from doesn't exist. And now if we go here and modules, and there it does still exist. That's, you know, that's a reason to make sure we use normalized path here. Oh, yes. Normalized paths are good. So when we initialize our module, at some point we handed our module path, which is the apps path. Oh yeah, okay, it's deleted already, it doesn't exist anymore. Let's just jump in here. And have a look. That seems good. Yeah, but now if... damn it, as it's part of the... yeah, as it's part of the Git file, it's automatically a relative path. And I think what I have to do here is to, well, go down to the roots where this happens, which is here. And here I make it, or here I normalize it at least, so that these relative path thingies go away, like dot dot slash dot dot slash. These relative path elements, I could say, instead of thingy, might be a bit more to the point. Good. That should also be fine. Because the git-dir, from the git-dir, I think everything else is computed, kind of. Or I adjust these values manually if that causes any issue. So let's just try to do that, and let's see if some tests break. There's intense testing in that regard, and I will be, yeah, let's see. Maybe there's not so intense testing because the Git files are not used in tests that much. So let's do it. Norm path. Yeah, we could just put it here. Why not? All right, so that path will look better now. Let's make a note. And that's interesting. You know, I've never seen it that way. I never thought that normalizing path everywhere is such a great idea. Because why? If you use these paths consistently in your program, then everything should work as expected. You know, it's just a problem if you compare a normalized path with an unnormalized one, or vice versa, then you get into trouble. But if you keep it consistent, you know, like I say, you know, I just don't absolutify or normalize my path at all, and this should work, and it will work. But in these cases, clearly, if this makes you dependent on bigger path portions than you might want, especially if these are being moved or changed in some way, and you are still using a path that relates to them, which then will be invalid, even though if you would have normalized it before, it would be a perfectly valid path. So that's something we should definitely look into. Let's check the initialization. So this starts at is git-dir, and then it just uses this. And you know, I think I want to normalize this at least. You know, the idea was that real path shouldn't be used because it's expensive, and I still think that's the right choice. But I think I want to use norm path here. Just to be on the safe side. And as I do this here, okay, this one does it for me. Returns normalized path. Question is, do I want it, or do I, you know, I don't want that here. I'd rather, you know, this guy can just do what it says it does, like return a path that makes sense, it just joins them, and if you want to normalize them, you normalize it yourself. But it gives you what it reads, and that's, I think, important. It doesn't kind of modify the data and therefore degenerates the data, because after norm path you kind of lose information. Even though the end result is still the same, you point to the same path. Okay, let's do this. If it's not none, then we do the same thing here. We normalize it, and then we should be fine. Rest should be fine. And there we go. That is it. That looks good. Let's write something about norm path. I like to keep track of this so that I don't remove it at some other point in time. I hope that's visible enough. Okay, let's try that again. In theory, it works, or we get a different error. Okay, awesome. So that did work, and now we definitely figure out that this module path still exists. Ha! I mean that. Like so. Because remove didn't actually remove that one, and as we said, we have to keep it consistent, we have to remove that guy. Let's see, force. Okay, force, we just kill the folder, otherwise we are a bit more decent with it. And try to do the right thing without ever destroying work that the user might have done there, even though I don't trust that really. Then I think we should actually, that's the repository working tree, which might contain right now we just assume that it is contained in the working tree here. So what do? Take the fast lane and just delete everything in our module path. To do, if we run into permission problems, we have a highly inconsistent state, delete the git folder last, start with the submodules first. That's to do. Probably nothing I have to act on right now. Yeah, I think we should do this right here. That's also the module thing. Module, if true, the module we point to, well, the module checkout we point to will be deleted as well. The module is currently on a commit which is not part of any branch in the remote. If the currently checked out branch is in the or the branch in the remote, if the currently checked out branch working tree untracked. What the hell is this? If the module is currently on a commit which is not part of any working tree in the remote, if the currently checked out branch, working tree, or untracked files is ahead of its tracking branch, if you have modifications in the what? Man, and I wrote this. I must have been very confused back then. I mean, it's okay, it's still me. I believe I could have been that confused, but it just makes no sense to me. I kind of have an idea of what I probably wanted to write, but it's not coming out the right way. In case the removal of the repository fails, for these reasons, the submodule status will not have been altered. If this submodule has child modules on its own, these will be deleted prior to touching the own module. Oh, that's another thing to make sure will work. Because I think that currently will not work. This needs to be recursive. And right now it is not. Should be easy enough to make it recursive though, but if we start deleting the module right away because we assume it's just all the data we are interested in is just contained within itself, you know, that's not gonna cut it anymore. And I wonder if this this was never correct, because one of the child modules could have had modifications that we do. Oh, and probably this is part of the reason that you couldn't ever trust the update really, because submodule update could call remove, could it? And if that's, no. It could not. Okay, just an idea. Not correct, but that needs a lot of fixing here to be as intended. Yep. Let's do this. And I do wonder, either items and submodule instance available in the given repository. Okay. I want to traverse my own submodules. How does that work? Could be either items. Get intermediate items, self-list items. We are iterable here, and I don't know the iterable interface. That's the one item module. Yeah, that's what allows us to traverse in any way, breadth first, depth first. Iterable. What can you do? List items, either items. Really? Is it a class method? There must be some instance method as well. There should be traversable. I think traversable is the guy that adds instance methods. Here we go. Yeah, that's the get intermediate items guy. And there are the instance methods. Traverse. That's what we want. List traverse. Iterable list with the results of the traversals produced by traverse as a list. Self, predicate, everything, prune. I mean, it's a real dependency graph traversal, which can of course traverse hierarchies as well. And it's non-recursive, just why it even exists. Is it necessary? Well, I don't know. Probably it's a bit over-engineered. On the other hand, it's also very powerful. For our purposes, I shall just call traverse and be happy. And this is absolutely non-atomic here. Do I write something about this somewhere? Doesn't work with bare repositories or note. Doesn't work atomically. Has failure to remove any part of the submodule. Will leave an inconsistent state. That's just how it is. We can't, I mean, you know, you can always kind of make it better and make things atomically by renaming things and by being very, very careful and stuff, but you know, it would be very difficult to do. And of course, complicate things for us right now. So let's not do this. For child submodule in self-traverse. Oh yeah, we want to be sure that we do not return self here. Ignore self is true by default. Awesome. If true, self will be ignored and automatically pruned from the result. That's important, at least in our case. And we want to be depth first. Branch first is true. We want to be depth first. See, this is why the traverse method is cool, because you can just say, okay, go down and start from the lowest levels and then move your way up. So yeah, I like it. Call it over-engineered, but that's exactly what we need now. Unless you want to implement your own thing. I mean, that's something you could do as well. Like get intermediate objects, just gets your intermediate children. And from there you could implement your own depth first traversal easily, but hey, we don't have to do that. We have a generalized method that does it for all. And that's what I like. Branch first, false. Depth first, please. Like so. Anything else? You know, ignore self. I just write it here. Just to write it, and I don't have to ask myself later if I see the code, oh, do I ignore self or not? Yeah, probably I do, otherwise this would never work. Or is it once? Yeah, doesn't matter. Good. CSM, CSM remove. And we shall just pass on everything. Module is module. Force is force. Configuration is configuration. I'm quite aware that I could just use arguments without using keyword arguments here and keep that, you know, considering that, I would just keep in mind, you know, usually if I change the API, I just add arguments at the end, especially now that this kind of has keyword arguments only that are defaulted. So I'm pretty safe here I just have to remember to adjust this guy as well if I should ever add some new flag here, some new parameter. So it's kind of a danger, but on the other hand, manageable. So module force configuration dry run. There we go. If that fails, bad enough. Then we are done. And now we can basically just I'd like to get the git dir here right away. And you know, I don't really care. I don't really care about checking the version of the git command underneath, because what I really care about is my git repository, that should be a directory, is it gone after deleting the folder or not? And if not, then we will delete it. So where's my module? Did I get it somewhere? Down there. Otherwise, I just use my own apps path. Fair enough. Now I will always get the module. You know what? Mod. Let's call it mod. Like so. Mod git dir. Then down here we don't have to get yet another instance of that guy. We just use that. All right, and after all this hopefully worked. Oh, look at that. But we don't do it correctly. Oh yes, no, we don't. How does that work? First do we delete everything here already? I mean, okay, now I see it. Now I see it. That's the brute force version. And yeah, but I tell you what, I like that more. That's better here, because now we definitely do it depth first. And this thing here, I mean, this is gentle removal, because only at the end of this we remove our own thing. So that is already depth first. And look at that function here. I didn't know that even exists, but that's good. That will do the same. Oh, that's actually wrong. Shit. Because, you know, oh shit, I'm so dumb. Well, you want to do it like that. Because that will be depth first, and you know, otherwise we would kind of duplicate our effort here and constantly, yeah. Oh no, that would have been bad. Oh man. I apologize for my stupidity sometimes. Good that I read this code. Del sm. Maybe to kill some, to trigger some release or something of resources. Let's just do it. I must have had my reasons. So it's still the right thing to do, because if, like, there is even a mixed mode of submodules, so some submodules are checked out using the old style, some are checked out using the new style, then we want to be sure we treat each with the care it requires. And if you would do it like that, then, you know, in force mode we kind of skip on everything, and that's something we just can't do anymore. So that's the right thing to do. That's something we can remove now. And that is it. Last but not least, once all this work is done, make sure that our git dir is actually gone. If this is still there. Handle separate repository. Then we just remove it, in the sense of deleting it. I think there's nothing more that we should do here. It's rm tree git dir All right. That should be it. Yeah, I mean, here we already delete everything, and what is this? And that's dealing with the parent repository. That's also all right. We just remove ourselves, remove our own section, and void our data, and there we go. So in theory, that should work now. Terrific. And let's see how the rest of the test does. Okay. With any modification unless... Okay, for a moment I thought it wants to delete my local copy, but it doesn't. And I think that previously, due to our possibly buggy implementation, it would actually fail to realize that there are modifications in the repository that in the submodule that we want to remove. This is something that pgit submodule did when it updated. It could kind of update your own changes away, or no, wait, it would actually change branches forcefully and things like that, which was very annoying. But maybe that bug is still in there. Yeah, I will definitely fix this as well. I mean, if I do this, then I really want to make sure that I like it. All right, let's prepare commit. Just because remove now works. Submodule remove now deals with git files correctly. Simple test verifies this at least. Good. Actually, I didn't check the diff. Maybe I should have. But yeah, it looks good to me. I think there's no debug code still in there. Alrighty. Let's have a look at this failing test, because I do believe him even. I cannot delete submodule 739 if is dirty. Question is why is that dirty? So let's step in there. Which one is it? It's test root module. Working tree dir. So let's see if that is dirty. It is, because there is a commit missing. It's actually a good thing. Where does it fail? So that's what I like. It's amazing that previously this didn't trigger an error there, which it shouldn't, which it should have. 5.11. So the test was buggy and the implementation was buggy too. Dry run true. Dry run. Oh my god. That would have been terrible. If not dry run. Oh my god. Let's put this right in here. Yes, absolutely. For that is important. I definitely want to test this. For dry run in, true, false. So as we finish with a non-dry run, this should definitely then remove it at the end. So it exists if it's not in dry run. So, sorry, it exists if it is in dry run. Otherwise, they all don't exist. Is dir. Same logic here. So that should now work. That was close. I mean, it's not only close, the bug is in there in the previous commit. In the next commit it will be fixed. Then, once again, 5.11. What am I trying to test here? An update. And look, an update triggers a remove. And that's, yeah. So basically that could be the major bug fix that I was after for that long. Because the remove has had an invalid, possibly an invalid or a buggy implementation. It could kind of kick out your own changes, but hey, let's not judge that right now. Maybe there will be other issues. 138. And that's kind of a diffing algorithm here. So it figures out in which way the submodule configuration changed, and then it will handle it. It also deals with renames of submodules, and this is something we have to look into as well, because renames are currently not handled correctly with Git files. But that's another thing. An update will remove the module, but not in dry run. So should I just force it? Or should I... well... SM apps path. So that's the module. So I guess I want to commit this one. And then there shouldn't be an issue. SM repo index. No, wait, it's module index commit. What was that? There was a removed a file, and we removed our submodule there. Wait a moment. Could it be that this recursive removal that we don't commit here? I think that's part of our problem actually. We don't, I mean, right now there's probably nothing to be done here. So the child gets or removes itself. That's interesting. So that's happening. Where do we change the index? Index. Is it here? That's the configuration. Here we delete the index entry, and here we change our git modules file. And this is what we want to commit now. The problem, and yeah, I deleted. I don't know how that setup thing got deleted. Probably it's part of the test. Yes. Possibly. Well, it's just mentioned once, and now it's gone. I don't know under which circumstance it's gone, and I don't use the path multiple times. That is weird. Could even be a disabled test here. Yes, it is. Huh. Yeah, now I think it's safe to make a commit, because I can assume that if we are here... Oh no, wait. Oh no, that's in our parent. Okay, so we deleted our own thing, and in our parent, yeah. So we wanna make this commit, but actually only if it's a child that we are in. we would have to determine if we are making a recursive call here. And if so, we are free to make a commit in order to not leave the repository in a dirty state. That's important. Otherwise, we definitely don't want to commit because that would kind of interfere with the user's business. We don't want to interfere with the user's business ever. So yeah, I don't see another way but to have a hidden flag here is recursive. I could also make it a member variable, but that would be even dirtier, even though it would be better hidden. Kind of not change our API. Recursion level. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we do that instead. Oh, no. No, wait, sorry, it can't be a, stupid, can't be a member variable, obviously, because we are calling our children here, and that makes no sense. So yeah, we have to do it like that. Is recursive. So that will be false by default, but here we put it on is recursive. And now we can make the commit if we feel like it, but only assure we don't leave the parent repository in a dirty state and commit our changes. It's important for recursive deletions to work as expected. Recursive non-forced deletions, unforced maybe, deletions to work as expected. Okay, if is recursive, then just commit. Where was it? Here. Index commit removed submodule. Let's name it self name. Okay, nobody will ever read this because we delete it, but hey, why not? Okay, so now I would expect the test to work. Failure. Okay, that's one error, one failure. So my logic down here doesn't work. And the fix also didn't work. Well, that's not such a great success rate here. But maybe my logic is broken as usual. Try run true as exists. Should be true. Why is it false, man? Oh, maybe I should pass the information that I do wish a dry run. Okay, let's do it again. Now I just want to see one error. Okay, cannot delete module add blouth with any modification. Let me guess, still the same thing. But why? Oh, well. No. That will be passed on. That should be all right. Huh. Did the commit not work as expected? Okay. Anyway, we'll just go there and see what's going on. Oh, so now the setup.py is not there anymore. but the removed submodule is, which has not been committed. Why is that? We write our index, which should make everything all right. Oh, now I get it. We just remove our own thing. Oh no. So the config writer, it has access, our own config writer. It has, yeah, I mean this config writer that you get from a submodule. No, wait, it's the repo config writer. Yeah, that's the one. So our own actually uses the index because we'll add the git modules file to the index after deletion of ourselves. So the question is still why it's not being picked up. The index definitely is changed and we commit afterwards. No, we could in theory, no, that's a different index, so that one has to be written. Oh, I'm committing the wrong one. Now I get it. Oh my god, that's the parent index. It's called it like that. Ah, variable names can be an awesome source for misunderstandings and thus bugs. Because we want to do our own. Which one is our own? Our own is module self module index commit, because that's the one that is passed. Oh, that is actually adjusted. Okay. And different error. Test root module 502. That's already protected by the dry run flag, so we should be fine. Did it previously get further down? 511, it did. So now we get kicked out before that, and ew. Oh my god, why is that? Yeah. I think I will take a small break and be back.